Hi YouTube. Oh, a bit out of breath because I'm cycling. Whew. I felt really pissed off today because the man a few doors down had a go at me and Daniel earlier. He says, "You keep walking past my window, do you know it's private property?" He says, and I says to him, I says, "What about when you elbowed me and Daniel a couple of weeks ago?" And he says, "So what?" And I says, "Well, are you homophobic though?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm not homophobic, I like lesbians, this, that and the other." And then he started having a go at Daniel. He says, "You've been walking past making gestures or whatever." Well, I've not seen Daniel do that at all. So then I says, "Well, what about when you walk past our window?" I says, "It works the same way. The reason I don't walk down that the reason why I don't walk down the ramp is because as the weather's getting colder, I've slipped before and nearly fell over. That's why I go the other way down the stairs. And I used to go the same way with Aaron as well. So I don't see what the problem is." So I'll go along the footpath and then I'll go down the stairs, which I've done for a while now since I fell over a couple of years ago walking down that ramp. And he says, "Oh, I could put." He says, "Do you want me to put you down?" He says, "He says we can sort it out now. I can put you two down." So just, I thought I'm going to hear him out. Then he started having a go at Daniel. Daniel was speaking back to him, and I was saying, and I says to it, he says, "Oh, your landlord's going to chuck you out in the next few days. I spoke to her. I spoke to the estate agents. I spoke to the police. I rang up my landlord." She was like, "No, I don't know anything about this." She says, "He's just making empty flats." She says, "And I'm happy with you there. You always pay the rent. You always look after the place well." She says, "I'm perfectly happy with you there." And I says, he elbowed me and Daniel a couple of weeks ago. He put his elbow up to us when he walked past us. Yeah, and I haven't reported that, but she thinks I should. So I've got an appointment at the police station on Sunday. It's one drama after another, isn't it? So yeah, so I think he's just homophobic. I do. I says, how can she throw me out? I says, "I think you'll find that I've got money and money talks." And I says, and then I just walked off. I thought I'm not going to stand around listen to him. Well, I wasn't even arguing because he was doing all the talking. Everyone walks past the windows there because when I first moved there, I had to put nets up. Everyone walks past those windows. Everyone walks up and down. Lee has, I have, Daniel has, Aaron has. Everyone's walked along that footpath down towards the stairs. I can't see any problem with it. It's just in his head. It's probably just his age. He's like 60s or 70s. Oh, what's that? Butterfly. Yeah, so I'm cycling today to de-stress. Yeah. So anyway, blessings to him and blessings to them. I don't hold any grudges against anyone. Blessings to them. Blessings. But I do feel slightly miffed. I says, "How can she throw me out when I've got money? I think you'll find that money talks." And he didn't have an answer to that, so I just walked off. And she even says to me, because I rang her, she says, "He hasn't spoke to me." She says, "Write down the times and days it's happened before you get to the police station." Because she's a police officer herself, so she knows. She's told me exactly what to do. And she's been really supportive as well. She's like, "You always pay the rent. You always keep the place nice and tidy." Because I've told her that I often spend 2-3 hours a day cleaning. Because I have a bit of OCD, you see. So I do quite a lot of cleaning. and I feel like sometimes I feel like I can't leave the house until everything's clean, and then other times I just need to leave the house. I feel really anxious in the house, so I just need to leave the house. Sometimes I just get really anxious and I need to leave the house. And I says to Claire Smith, I says, I've moved from so many properties due to bad neighbours. I've had cigarettes put through my door in the past. I've had neighbours shouting queer through the letterbox when I lived in a council place before. I says, and I've moved from at least 3 different places thanks to bad neighbours. And I says to Claire Smith, I says, there comes a time when you're thinking, well, why should I keep moving for? Why should I keep letting people walk all over me? So I'm thinking, no, I'm not going to move. He can carry on saying whatever he wants to us. I don't care. We both spoke up to him. Daniel spoke up to him as well. We both explained that everyone walks past the windows because there's only one ramp and there's only one set of stairs. Well, there's 2 sets of stairs for all the houses along there, which is at least 10 houses. So unless they're going to build stairs to every house, I can't see how I can use a different set of stairs. So yeah, so I'm not doing. It's like Claire Smith says. She says he doesn't own the footpath outside his house. She says he only owns his house. He doesn't own the footpath. That's public footpath along there. She says that's public footpath along there, and she should know because she owns the place. I just rent the place off her. So yeah, and she was asking me, am I happy being there? And I said, yeah. I was thinking about moving to Malvern, but now I'm happy being there. I'm going to stay there because I've got such a supportive landlord, Claire. Well, I'm not going to say her full name because yeah. So I've got such a supportive landlord, so I can't see why I should move. Daniel says to me afterwards, he says, I can't believe how calm you was. He says, if I'd just come up from London, I'd have just, yeah. So, and I thought, I was actually shaking inside. I could feel my knees shaking, I could feel my hands shaking. I was getting really wound up, but I thought, I'm not going to get into an argument with him because, but then I thought, hang on a minute, how can he say that my landlord's going to chuck me out in a few days? So I just pointed out to him the fact that people only chuck someone out of their home if they don't pay the rent or if they vandalise the property. Those are 2 reasons why anyone would chuck someone out of their home. People don't chuck people out of homes just for walking past next door neighbours' footpath. If there's not one footpath to every house, then people have to share a footpath, which is what happens outside my front door. There's a footpath that goes all the way along for about 10 houses, and then there's 2 sets of stairs and 1 ramp. The ramp is the nearest thing to mine, but because of the cold weather, if you walk down there in cold weather, you can slip over, which has happened to me before. I caught myself just in time, but I have nearly fell over a few times walking down there in ice. So that's why I take the stairs, because there's less chance of falling down. Plus there's a banister as well. So when it's like, well, I do it all the time now because I don't really want to fall over walking down the ramp. But people walk past my window, and I don't say anything to them. I don't, I just think he's an old man. He's got nothing better to do than have a go at me. I noticed that when I asked him, is he homophobic? He just mentioned that he likes lesbians. He didn't mention anything about gay men. So I'm assuming that the only gay people he likes is lesbians by that response that he gave me. So I think it is. She actually says she thinks he's got some issues. Claire Smith, my landlord, she says I think he's got some issues. So yeah. Anyway, God blessings to everyone watching my channel, and I'm going to chill out, carry on cycling. I've done about 40 minutes now. I think about 40 minutes. I'm going to carry on cycling. Yeah. Alright, God bless you all. Namaste. Much love. And God bless Pep as well. God bless Pep on his journey to heaven, within the heart centre, within the heart tracker, within himself. God bless all beings everywhere. God bless, God bless, God bless, God bless.